All right. I hope I'm audible. For the last 2 to 3 hours, I've been racking up my brain along with ChatGPT as well as with Claude on what my opener should be. Thankfully, my brain and my gut has done the business for me. I have been feeling so cold. I think as soon as the phrase comes into my mind, when hell freeze is over, this room is going to be one that comes into my mind as a picture. Second, my gut has been telling me you need some lunch before you get on the stage. So I think those would be my two key openers. But before we move any further, I would want to start off with this conversation around moving from keywords to actual conversations, right? And before we jump into the context of it, I would want to start off with one very quick question. So a raise of hands, a show of hands, very quickly, on if you have used any kind of LLM model this week to help you across from a search perspective. If you have been searching for a brand, if you've been searching for an answer, have you used any model at all? So a quick raise of hands. Almost half of the room, which means congratulations, you just killed off landing pages as they were almost 2 to 3 years ago. But moving forward, this is something that now needs to be kept in mind. Search has stopped becoming a box. More and more people more frequently have been utilizing different aspects of how we converse among each other in order to figure out things about the brand. You have people who use Google Lens in order to click an image and understand a little more about the brand or a product or a solution offering. You have individuals who speak directly to your mobile phones in order to have these conversations. You have those who directly converse with an LLM without even moving into the whole Google search thing. Now, this essentially means that what equity used to arrive on your website over a period of time, whenever somebody was searching for a query, is now essentially gone. And this was proven through by Google in the latest Google I/O 2026, just last month, when they said that 60%, 68% people now don't even go and visit your website. They simply come in, ask the question, Google AI overviews or Google AI mode, answer them, and then they simply walk away. And then you see your CTR dropping off the cliff over a period of time. What used to give you almost 35 to 40% queries, if you are ranking on position 1 or 2, now barely gets you 15%. It becomes even lesser if it's a non-branded query. If it's a non-branded query that is simply informational in nature, it performs even worse, something similar to how the Indian team performs under Shreyas Iyer. Now, that being the scenario, this is one key thing that you need to understand about how machines, which include search, currently operates. Number one, they do not rank anymore. They try to understand certain beliefs about your brand, they consume it, and then these are the beliefs that essentially are propagated across LLM models and across different queries. Now, why do I say that these beliefs are the ones that are propagated? This I want to showcase not just with the help of certain theoretical synopsis that I've created, but also with the proof of the brand that I'm currently working for, which is Straya. Now, over the last 24 hours, if you have interacted among yourself, one key thing that you would have heard of is that organic search traffic has been dropping down. It has been going down the hill for the last 15 to 24 months. Fair enough, I've heard the same thing as well. And I've had those conversations where people keep on coming to me and say that, since you are leading this function, are you seeing a drop? And here exactly is the answer to that question. We are not. We've actually seen a 9x growth in terms of our organic traffic. The last 3 months alone would tell you that we have doubled that particular number. So how do we get there? And this is where I come up to this particular part, that machines have started to believe, and this is more than a theology in question. It's actually data verifiable. So what we have come up with something called the DNA model. Now, it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that while I was trying to coin this phrase, my wife had just uttered that DNA is an essential part of you irritating me. But the idea over here is that your brand is now distributed into 3 components. First is what you essentially write about yourself on your website. That's number one. Any kind of changes that you make on your website, whether it is from a content point of view, whether you include schema, whether you include anything at all, your PDP pages, that is all one component of discoverability. But that holds a very limited consensus about what the brands believe about you. Number 2, which is the credibility aspects. Anybody familiar with search would know that backlinks used to be one critical component of how your website was found out across search engines and how they used to help you from a ranking perspective. That, however, is a second component. The third, and that's the most important component from a machine ranking perspective, is propagation of that which we are going to be calling the nucleus, or identifying the brand truths and then ensuring that different individuals across different platforms are able to talk about. Let's just say, from our brand point of view, what we essentially say is that we are not just a wellness firm. We are a wellness firm that takes into account the personalization of the products that we are offering. Now, if it is something that we say on our brand, that is nothing credible, right? Because it's just us. We can talk about whatever we want. But the second component, which is the more critical one, is when there are third-party individuals who start to talk in essentially the same language over and over again, that is where credibility starts to build up. Your 10 blue links from a Google search point of view were absolutely nothing because the people essentially had to visit your website, and then whatever they were telling you was the truth of it. But now, AI overviews or LLMs will not only collect those 10 blue links and understand about your brand, but also what others are speaking about your brand. So there is a trust, a verification process that now has been added to it. And that is your overall truth of the brand. So whenever you're determining any assets, whenever you're looking at propagating any kind of truth, you need to understand that simply talking about it on your website is not going to be enough anymore. It contributes only a small delta of what the LLMs or what AI overviews talk about you. So your asset is never going to ship alone anymore. You have to add in something more from a third-party point of view. You have to ensure that your customers are potentially talking about you. And you most importantly have to ensure that they are using the same voice, the same exact language as well, because that is what LLMs are actually going to pick up. Now, this is, once again, the result that we have been able to see. Again, in terms of Traya, we have multiple other brands, and once we determined that what was contributing to the success, we were able to replicate this success story across the rest of the brands as well. Now, there were 4 different questions that primarily come into the picture. How do you ensure the interpretation? How do you ensure that you are able to reach from a scalability point of view, and whether this same truth actually comes into the picture as soon as you scale? Whether or not you have to rely on the content that you are publishing or the signals that you send out. And lastly, is it attributable? Across the first 3 pillars, I would say, as soon as you determine your brand truths, as soon as you determine that these are the 7 or 8 different points that I need to be spoken about from a brand perspective, all these 3 questions get answered as quickly as perspective. But the last one, the attribution, when you determine whether it is working or not, you can only measure it not from a clicks point of view, but whether the answers whether the answer that AI overviews or LLMs that they keep on talking about, whether your brand is getting mentioned. So that clicks is getting now replaced with share of voice across those answers. And that is what needs to be mentioned, and that is what needs to be measured. And that is what you're going to determine whether or not your search strategy is essentially working in today's world. And that was about it. I know that lunch is going to be offered, so I'll skip this slide for you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you so much.
Sure.